This is Fam Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with April Ratchford. Welcome to the Fam Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing tonight?
Good. Thanks for having me.
It's great to talk to people from around the world. We love talking live. This is a live podcast, and we always ask a couple questions till we get to the heart of your story. One of the questions is, what motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, my motivation is really my son. My son motivated me to really start my podcast and to become an occupational therapist. And I do what I do because I want all young people with autism to have that innate independence like their neurotypical peers. I feel that 85 to 92% unemployment is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So it is time for them to shine their light on the world.
Yeah, being a creative myself, I'm a musician and I'm a software. I do a lot of creative things, and um, I have a daughter who has disabilities, and what I've seen is like in the creative community, it's kind of typical for people with to be neurodivergent. It's but when we get into the corporate workplace, it's maybe less accepting. You have to go through hoops. You have to actually be an advocate to get what you deserve and the positions you should be in. Have you seen this kind of dichotomy or this situation I'm talking about?
Absolutely. I myself am late diagnosed autistic, and I have had many a meltdown and not realized I was autistic. And what it was is just I was in constant burnout trying to
Hmm.
fit into the corporate world of occupational therapy. And it's hard. It's really hard to be yourself, find your tribe, and be professional on top of that. So I get it. I totally get it. And it is so, so hard because there's so many unspoken rules that you're not taught. And thankfully, my younger sister, who is pretty much neurotypical and an occupational therapist, I had her to guide me, simply saying, you cannot go in your workplace and say these things out loud, or in interviews, you might not want to say that. Or sometimes I would be at lunch and I'm like, I think I'm going to say it like this. And she's like, absolutely not. You will get fired. So I had someone guiding me a little bit, but not everyone else has that guidance.
Yeah, a lot of times people aren't willing to give you that advice, so they just won't speak up. And it's good to have people who care about you to actually give you input, to give you that information. But I find also sometimes it's like the corporate world is so into having people fit in the box. They talk about how they want out of the box thinking, or they want people who come from different areas, but they tend to be it's I have not seen that actually work the way
Yeah,
they say it's supposed to work.
yeah, it looks real good on paper. It looks great on paper, but to like implement it, it's a dumpster fire
Yeah.
because it's like they don't understand that somebody that's neurodivergent, that social battery drains a lot. And sometimes they really don't care about birthdays or Susie is having a baby. They don't care. They don't care. They just want to go in, do their job, and go home. And it's not to be offensive. It's just like, I just want to do my job and go home. That's it. And the corporate world says they want the best person for the job, but then they don't walk the walk. And
Yeah,
you're
what I
and they
found
get
is like
confused.
I had, I for many years I tried to fight in the corporate world, and I've gone to like a smaller kind of entrepreneurial startup, and it's mostly online. I work totally remotely for the last 3 years, and I found for like I feel like that my daughter's neurodivergent, and I feel like I never got diagnosed, but given my experience with the corporate America, and if in the way I do things, I think I am, based on what happened from what you said and other things my daughter told me. It's just like, Dad, I think you are. So it's like but yeah, it just seems like I had to become more entrepreneurial or be in spaces where people were willing to deal with me in a more out of the box situation where because they're thinking out of the box that they're trying to do they oh I don't have to wear this hat today, I wear a different hat, or they want my real opinion and they're willing to hear it unfiltered, and they're maybe I could swear and they don't get mad, but it's like there's a different mindset, it's a different place. You find your tribe and can be comfortable when you find it, but you're not always capable of doing that.
No, and it's truly hard. Like, my son hasn't found his tribe yet and is still looking for what he wants to do, and his little heart is set on being a video game designer, and I'm like, "Son, son, you do understand you're gonna have to be with other people on a group setting, so you are going to have to get into the world and navigate the social realm. You can't just be in a box. This is
Yeah.
gonna be a whole management thing." And he's like, "Well, how do I do that?" "You're just gonna have to get out there and just say hi to people and be uncomfortable and learn change is uncomfortable, and it is what it is." He said, "How did you do it?" I was like, "I was thrown into nursing by your grandmother and have a choice. So you can't not talk in healthcare."
Yeah, so it's like you were kind of I'm a child of the '70s, and people, in that, they didn't really recognize what you're talking about.
No.
You just got thrown into it, so just suck it up, just go do it. It's like what's the problem? Let's do it.
Right. He was like, "I don't understand." I was like, "There was no understanding. We just get out there and we were thrown to the wolves and
Yeah,
that's it."
you had to deal with the discomfort and wonder why it was, not comfortable, and you had to put on like a mask. Like I think a lot of times people
Mhm.
create these masks, and maybe you can talk about it, but I felt it in order to be able to operate.
Yeah, I masked a lot in school. Like, I was one way in school, and then when I got home, I took my mask off, and people who were close to me, I had like that one person in school that may be close to me. They're like, "You're nothing like you are at home." I was like, "Of course not. I have to mask at school so they don't think I'm a freak of nature."
Yeah, and that's something that you have to like learn by doing, by putting yourself like yourself throw yourself out to the wolves. And the thing is, like people have a tendency to want to feel safe. So I can see that that safety mechanism can make you self isolate because it's like it's not comfortable being out there. It's like you got that wolf at the door. You're probably getting your cortisol getting triggered all the time. You can deplete it because you're like you get the wolf's at the door all the time. He's like, where's your safety?
Yeah, and that's why I created my podcast, because I'm like, there has got to be a way to bridge this gap, because these kids are like getting the drop off. Uh, There's not enough resources, or um and it's so uneven from state to state. Like,
Oh yeah, it's very much. I mean, that's why the federal government was out there to deal with the inequities of the states. Like if you don't have a wider like a bigger system like other than your state, like if you're in like Mississippi or you're in Texas or you're in certain places, they just don't prioritize certain things, like
oh
for
well,
certain people.
I'm in Kentucky and they don't like nothing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so it's like so the people say, well, let them have states' rights, so let's find states' rights. But the whole idea of like some of the like Department of Education or different rules, like OSHA rules, is like to make sure that there's some uniform standard that a state can't just go and say, I don't like this group of people, or I don't care enough about this group of people to actually think it's important to support you. So,
Right.
if you're disabled, no ramps, no support, no help, no therapy, no money, just suck it up
No,
and try to be like me. Be like him, be like them.
exactly. And it's a disservice. Like there's lots and lots of complaints in the government talking about, oh, we don't know about Social Security when people retire. Well, there's 85 to 92% of people that would love to work. You could probably fix that if you just kind of
Yeah, but
put
yeah, I mean, but
some.
if you would allow more people to self-actualize, to allow people to be productive instead of creating these mechanisms, these social mechanisms of this like approval systems that are not necessary, right? It's like social constructs that are not really productive. They're causing inefficiencies. Like if you're into economics, it's like if you don't have everybody being able to be where they could be, then that's inefficient. That's ineffective. It's not. It's actually going against GDP. So don't you want GDP to be better? So you should get more people involved in the
You
society.
would see that would make sense.
Unless you have other agendas where it's like, well, some people, we don't understand and we don't care to try to understand. And that's the way it should be. We get this mindset is okay. So it's your way or the highway. And there's nowhere in between.
Uh, and really, and it's all a gray. It's all a gray. We're not saying it's going to be a perfect system. There's no such thing
Yeah, there's no
as a
perfect
perfect
system.
system. If, but we've got to start somewhere because with the statistic of 1 in 25 being diagnosed, there's going to be a lot of people in that workforce coming out, and you might want to put, you know, something in place to help them in the workforce because there's not
But
enough money.
yeah, if you can find where you can take neurodivergence, like some industries figured out that if I have a neurodivergent
It's,
person, like as a code breaker, they could get a job in the CIA and be a really high level code breaker, right? Because they can focus on it, or they could focus on something that's very specific technical task, and they could be really good when they say, "Hey, I don't have to." They don't have to fit into the cube because they're actually productive. They're actually getting me what I want. So you can have this specialization that could happen, and you could get to where you're supposed to be.
like the Thomas Theory wrote a whole freaking book on how a business could do it. He had a brother with autism and started a car wash. Now they have three. And, and it's all run by people that are autistic or neurodivergent.
I mean, you
And he
can find
said,
places where
typically the problem is the job descriptions are so vague that if you don't sit down and just print out everything that you really want that person to do, what is it? I mean, somebody that is autistic or neurodivergent isn't going to know what you do. You can't be just vague about your job. And
yeah,
that's what the problem is. The system has been like that forever. And now we have to change the system, and you know how that is.
yeah, you need so you're saying you need more specific, very specific kind of niche areas posted
Mhm.
so the neurodivergent people or the people with autism can actually find something that they feel comfortable that actually speaks to them. And those jobs exist, but they're just not being posted right.
Mhm.
So you're saying the work is out there, but they're not posting it right. They're for convenience, they're making it very generic, and it's not, you
Right.
know, hitting the note.
Correct. It's not specific. It's like some vague thing, like, oh, here's this, and it fits. somewhat of an area that you can fit in a group, but not really the job description. I'm like, that's not helpful. And some jobs won't bend. Like, if you know that person can do a job, but he can't come into the office because he can't deal with smells, loud chatter, let him do it remotely.
Yeah.
You can bend, especially if it's a job you do from a computer.
Yeah, that's why really a big sticking point for me. But I've been lucky where I'm in a job that's fully remote. But I mean, like I found it, and because I've been in the industry like 25 years, I could actually say that I have the experience to prove it. I could do it. But most of the stuff in IT. I do system design. It's like I don't have to be in a room with you to do it. And the idea, like you get big companies like Amazon suddenly say, "Oh, everybody's got to be in. Everybody's got to be in the office." Like, why? Why would they have to be?
Right.
When
Why?
when they were doing it for 3 years outside of the office, just because somebody wants to see that I'm sitting in the cubicle. What like it's like they have to like be that much control to know that I'm doing it. When the thing is like if you're neurodivergent or you've got autism, a lot of times you might not fit in a 9 to 5 structure, but you still get the work done. If you get the work
Correct.
done, what does it matter about that that constraint? Like if it does, some of the constraints don't actually like if you can get the job done, why do you care about things that have nothing to do with getting the job done?
Exactly. Just give them a, hey, I need this done by. That's all you need to do. They just need to know what to do.
And if you
That's
hit the
it.
mark, if you hit it and you're always hit it, then what's the problem?
Exactly. Like,
So yeah, I
and
mean,
there is not a big deal.
yeah, I think people make the minor things. It's like people think about like business etiquette, business like a decorum. Like, what does that have to do with actually getting it done?
I I don't know. I think people get stuck on socialization and team building, and I'm like, so listen, that's not always going to be in the neurodivergent mind. For me, I can team build from my house, except for in my job, I have to put my hands on people. That's just how it is.
Mm,
So, so if it's something that is IT related or business related, and you really don't need to go into the office, you can still build a team. It's just, I don't, some people just don't to go into the office. They're not social like that. They don't like you like that. Okay,
yeah,
Jan, they don't like you like that.
it seems like it's not a popularity contest. It's not like high school is like you got to be in with the homecoming queen or the quarterback. You got to like everybody's got to be in with the popular people. It's like is that really what it's about? It's about getting the job done. And so the idea is like socialization
Right.
to
And I
some people is
think,
like is everything. I don't know why they think it's everything, but like that's the mark of the people they promote.
and sometimes I think a lot of businesses too like to promote the wrong people. Like they promote the people that are a lot similar to themselves, or you always get somebody who's promoting their friend, not the person that is great for the job. And then they wonder why their job turns into a dumpster fire. So, I
Yeah, I mean,
mean,
yeah, that's the thing is
and
it
then
doesn't.
it's unfair as well.
Well, being who we are is
The
in the
interview,
society, African Americans, like African American men and women, we're not getting into the boardroom at the level of other people. And then what I've seen, even going back to college, I went to Bowdoin College, and people talk about like affirmative action for the affirmative action, whatever. I saw all these legacy kids, going. And my brother went to Harvard and Brown, so
Right.
we have some experience at Bowdoin, Harvard, Brown, and we saw people who were legacy. Now, legacy means that their parents went there, their grandparents, their great grandparents went there. They were getting in a high level,
Hmm.
bunch of people getting in that, and that their SAT scores weren't the best. Their capabilities in the classroom were not the best, and they were getting in. So the idea that you have to have the best scores, boy, that's not what was going on.
That's and that's unfortunate. That's everywhere. Like it's still it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, it
It's
goes
still
back to
like
that.
that who you know kind of, which is still sucky, but it's still in our culture.
But they tell you that it's based on your score. They tell you it's based on the quality of your work, but then you see people that get promoted that had no experience in the field, no track record in the field, no anything other than that. Well, I knew him on the golf course, I knew him from the church, I knew him from this, I knew he's in my frat, he's in my they were in my sorority. So like, what was all that? It's all surface level. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's that, but it's not. It's like when you actually get a neurodivergent person that actually does it, or an autistic person or person of color from a different society, different speaks a different language, and they do the job, but they don't look like you. They don't act like you.
That's where I put some life skills to my son. I'm like, here's real life for you. So it's actually who you know. So start rubbing elbows.
So is that the real rub though? Like you said, like you were forced into it. Like were forced to get into that discomfort level. So you're dealing with like students or young people who have like socialization like challenges. Um, what's the strategy to go about allowing them to navigate that?
Oh gosh. So you're gonna have to sit with your discomfort because feelings are fleeting. They come and go. And you know it's gonna be a gut punch when you get those anxiety feelings. And really what you're gonna have to tell your brain is it's I always tell my son, before you even open your mouth, count to 5, because it gives your brain a chance to come online and think about what you're going to say before it comes right out your mouth. And it served him well so far, because when he was little, he would just say whatever came out his mouth. And I was like, oh no, we got to fix this.
Mhm.
So I would teach him, count to 5 before you even say it, because you think about it before you say it, because you're always going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to be an uncomfortable thing. I still get uncomfortable talking to people, and I'm interviewing people all the time. I'm uncomfortable now.
Mhm.
But if you feel uncomfortable, put it down. There is no shame in writing it down and reading it and practicing it, especially if it's the first time you're doing anything, and rereading it.
Like a journal, to keep in a journal.
Yep, there's no shame in it. If you are making your first doctor's appointment and you get flustered, write it down, because everyone's going to get flustered the first time, because it's going to go in your head all the time. You're going to like, am I going to forget? Write it down, rehearse it,
Well, it's
because
like that discipline of an athlete or a musician of like the rehearsal, or the 10,000 hours it takes to get to master anything.
right. And it's same thing with a job interview. You're never going to be prepared for a job interview because you're never going to know really what kind of questions they're going to ask. But you can go on YouTube and mimic.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing more than acting. And you just have somebody role play with you. That's all it is until you get that job. Because I do it all the time.
Yeah.
I sit there and I am the number one fake it till you make it. Do you think when I first came into the entry level OT, I had purple hair? Absolutely not. I was the fabulous in business suit. I was like, yes, I was business proper. As soon as I got that job, it all came out. So you just have to learn to practice and you rehearse. And the more interviews you go on, you just get a knack for it. And it's generally the same freaking questions over and over and over. And
Oh,
if you've never been in the situation, sometimes you just say, well, I haven't been in this situation, but you find something that kind of mimics it.
so it's like reprogramming and practice makes perfect. Like, because you have to kind of know yourself. It's like if you, it's really got like a self examination, understanding where you need this to do this rehearsal, and how you should actually do it comfortable for yourself in terms of, you're keeping a journal, keeping a diary, and then like you said, you're going on YouTube or you have somebody that you role play with. Um, sounds like, it sounds like a plan. That you're making a plan. That you have to make plans.
Yeah. And you guys have all the tools. Like, if I had these tools, I probably would have gotten more jobs. But, you can't, and you're not going to get every job. You're not.
Mm-hmm.
And not all jobs are made for you. You're going to, and I interviewed someone named Shell Mendelson, a good coach, does extraordinary work with people who are neurodivergent. And not all jobs are made for you. You have to get the job that is your tribe, or you're going to be miserable every freaking day.
You're the one that's aligned with like you. Like you
Right,
find something that speaks to you instead of trying to fit like a square peg into a round hole. Well, that's
right.
going to be a fight that you might not win. So
And it may not be the perfect job. It may not be. Definitely, because I used to tell my kid, just apply for any job. Don't do it. Don't do it. Wrong method. Apply to something that you really want to do. Like, even if it's not the exact perfect job for you, get it close enough until you can find that perfect job, because you may have to have some education or voc training. But if it's close enough, there you go. You're not going to be there forever.
yeah, a lot of times you find like if you go onto these job sites, they have very specific. At least in IT, sometimes they have some very specific things they want you to have. They like certification, languages, different things. They could be very clear about what they want. Um, but sometimes you go in there and say, "Hey, I don't have. I have 7 out of the 10 things you want. Are you saying you have to have
Right.
all 10?" And some people think, "Well, I can't apply because I don't have all 10." But if you're like 7, you could even maybe even do it with 5 if you can get into the interview and show that you can learn. If you
Right.
show that I can get certifications like this and I get them like that, I can learn quick and I can apply it and I can show like a story. I can tell a story where I applied it and did it. So then you actually can go from, hey, I'm only five out of 10 things. Now you suddenly move to the top because you showed like I'm agile enough to get in there.
Right. Don't sell yourself short. Don't ever do that. Like, I'm an occupational therapist podcasting. I have no idea how to edit. I have no idea how to market. I am flying by the seat of my pants with this thing. You learn as you go. You're going to learn as you go.
How did you decide to go into podcast, and what made you want to do it?
Um, well, my son had a crash and burn at Eastern Kentucky University, and they swindled him out of $10,000. That's my version of it. He had no supports. It was a horrible experience, and it made his self-esteem like plummet. And I was out there trying to find anything that pertained to how can I get this kid, adulting with autism. And I could not find a podcast because at the time I was traveling everywhere as an OT. I would travel over an hour away and I listened to podcasts. And I'm like, you're kidding me. There's no podcast that's like saying adulting with autism. There's zero. And I was like, that sounds like a plan. And I kept,
Opportunity.
yeah. And I kept thinking about it and thinking about it. And I was like, well, I don't know. My fiance was like, why don't you just do it? I was like, but I don't know. I don't really have a mic. He likes doing electronic music. That's his thing. So he has
Mhm.
all this equipment. He finally threw a mic at me
Hey, I
and
got one.
said, just do it.
Yeah, there you go.
So, and
No
here I
excuse. Now you got the
am.
mic.
No
Yeah, if you don't
excuse.
even yeah, when the tech is like you got a laptop, you got an iPad, you got an iPhone, you got a mic, like it's just a matter of showing up. And that's what I love about the podcast forum is people can actually speak their truth. They can take a vision and it doesn't have to go through some studio exec saying, I don't know, we got to test this with the market there's no gatekeeper. There's no, because you can just get out and just push out there. And it just matters that you keep on showing up, you'll build an audience. And that's the
Yeah.
reality. And it's just like it's up to you, your tolerance for like, learning from your mistakes. Because I'm telling you, like when I did my first couple episodes, it's not where I am now. It's like
Oh, Lord.
you
Those first couple of episodes, I was like, ooh, it doesn't sound like it. Oh, oh, those were rough.
yeah, it's just like
Those are
just
some
by
rough
doing it.
episodes.
Yeah, well, like over time, you like I just did it. When I first started doing it, I was just on a cell phone. It was totally audio. And then, a couple of years, I started in 2016. It was audio until 2020, and then became audio and video. And the first video ones, I didn't know have a right camera. I didn't have the right stuff. I was like, yeah, you don't learn. You learn. You like every time it gets a progression over the years. By the time you get to 2025, is where it is because I did 1,000 episodes. By the time you do 1,000, you get pretty. You learn. Like you do it. It's like taking that 3-point shot. You do it like 1,000 times. You're probably highly likely you're going to get in there most of the time.
Whew, 1,000. I was doing good to do 100. I was like, oh Lord.
Yeah, not somebody that even wanted to get on the mic. So I mean, sometimes like things can happen that you didn't expect, and you'll see a lot of podcasters out there like they didn't expect to be on the mic, but they something in their life made them have. They had a story, and they had like a burning need to tell it, and then they said, "Hey, there's nobody stopping me but me." Then they're
Yeah,
like,
and
"I can
here I
get out
am.
there if I want
Mm.
to." There you
And
are.
it's funny. It's like I'm an it you always hear occupational therapy and autism synonymous, and I'm the only occupational therapist talking about adulting with autism. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I think
I'm
that's the
like,
story. You might assume that somebody was already doing it, and when you check, it's like they weren't. So then it's like, wow, and that's
right.
what that's the wow factor is like, hey, then I actually can go out there and be an advocate for this issue that I think is important. and then you're out there and you can
Yeah.
bring it to the world. So when you bring this your platform out there, what was like the feedback that you originally got?
It, it was a lot. I've had a lot of support from different from coaches, like neurodivergent coaches, from all sorts of people, from like big people from the autism community, from universities, because I sent out like emails from to schools that have nothing but autism specific supports, and they're like, we would love to come on to your podcast, let other parents know that these supports are out there. So it's been great, like, to have like updated knowledge and coaches specifically for neurodivergent and autistic adults,
So you're building a community.
because
So
I would
that's
have never known it was out there.
yeah. I mean, that's what the cool thing was. Like you end up building like a group of people who have the similar experience, and then you have this so your support system of people who are in this space that you get out there and you find like, hey, there's a whole sector of people that we didn't even know we could reach, and then we actually with a podcast, it's like a two-way street. So you're not just out there putting out stuff, you get feedback comes in, or you actually interview other people, or you bring people on, and then you can have a discussion, and then it's very, I think it's community building, it's purpose building, it's awareness model. Then you actually spread the knowledge out there in the world that people start seeing. Oh, I didn't know there's adulting with autism, and then they see that and say, oh, this is something that speaks to me. Now I know there's a place out there for me.
Yeah, it actually surprised my son, because when I told him I was podcasting, he laughed, and he laughed at me. And then I said, well, guess what? I have 500,000 downloads. He said, you're shitting me. And then I showed him. He goes, oh my God, I got to tell my friend Ari. And told his friend, and they told their friends, and then they joined. And then I was like, I want a Discord. And then his friend said, I can make a Discord. So now they run my Discord and Twitter, not
Oh
Twitter,
wow! So now you're
Twitch
you're out there on
servers.
Discord and Twitch, and you're out there. Like, yeah, you're really doing it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's really. I love this space because every day as a podcaster, I learn about spaces I didn't know were out there. I learned about topics that people I didn't realize people were actually connecting on, and I think it's really important to kind of be
Yeah.
aware of like what's out in the world.
Yeah. Cause I have no idea how to do Discord. I'll let his friend Ari do it. I'm like, build this for me, because I don't know what that is. She goes,
Yeah,
do you want this, this, and this? I'm like, sure, do all that. That sounds good. Great. She goes, are you on TikTok? I was like, I don't do the tick of the talk. No.
so you're not there yet. You don't want to go there.
Oh, that's just another thing I gotta post too.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of automation going on nowadays, so maybe eventually that you can clip things and then push it out. But yeah, it's another place.
Eventually. So I do get to, I know it's just another place I gotta post too. I'm just like, oh, well, how do these young people just get on there and go click, 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 click?
Well, yeah, as my
By the
daughter,
time I get home from work, being on a computer,
you're done clicking. Yeah, if you're
I'm
in the
done clicking.
computer,
And I'm like, oh,
if your job is on the computer, then it's like going onto the computer to have fun is probably not the thing. It's like I'm going somewhere else. I'm
no,
going on
I
a
do.
break. But yeah, I think they get
It's just
my
awful.
young
Oh,
my young daughter. She's an artist, but she's like you know on her iPad all day drawing and on her CAD on her illustration platform. So she's a digital artist, and then she's like relaxing. It's like you're still on your phone. It's like, why don't you do something else? It's like you're still on some electronic thing. It's
that's what
like, get
I'm like.
Give yourself your hands a rest. You don't want to get
That's
caught.
why, right. My son, he's like, my wrist hurts. I'm like, well, if you do this all day, what do you think is going to happen? He goes, oh. I'm like, I get paid to tell people this, a lot of money. She goes,
Mhm.
oh. I'm like, unless you would like me to put you in a nice little brace. He goes, I'll fix that. Thank you.
Yeah, because some people don't realize, like, they get stuck in a doom scrolling. They get stuck on, just, being in that loop, and they don't realize how much you can, damage your get into the carpal tunnel and get a repetitive motion injuries and stuff. But so in terms of like the resources that you found for this advocacy of, you're your own advocate being out there with your podcast, but have you found, resources that you inform people, your audience, about that maybe they weren't aware of?
Oh, so many. So many. There's an app. I just did an interview. There's a Thrive app out there specifically for for actually anybody can use it, but it was originally made for autistic,
Mhm.
neurodivergent people. And there's that, and um, there's coaches out there. You can have career coaches specifically for that, BIPOC, LGBTQ,
Mhm.
neurodivergent coaches, life coaches, schools, higher education schools. There are autism specific programs because not all higher education is made equal. There are
Mhm.
transition programs specific for autism because if it doesn't say autism in it, it's not for you. Or there's so many, there's so much, but a lot of the problem is funding. The,
Mhm.
not enough funding. It's like once they turn 19, it's like the funding goes away. Like it's difficult to find the funding versus when they're younger, you can find all sorts of funding for stuff.
Oh, as soon as you get to be an
But
adult, you run into the problem.
you run into a problem. But
That
I
seems to
my
be
ultimate goal is to do a foundation for autistic young adults so they can do these programs.
that seems to be a common problem in the US. It's like, I don't know if it's in other countries, but like when you have, like, if you have, I'm a diabetic, and if I'm, 19 as a diabetic versus 55 as a diabetic, I'm still a diabetic. So I'm
Right.
going to get the support for my condition, right? But like when you have other health conditions that are in the mental health space, the insurance is not the same. They don't want to fund things like they don't treat conditions in an equal way, and so then we don't have a system that actually provides resources for everybody, and to me in an equal fashion, because like people are not putting weight on certain conditions as being as relevant as like being a diabetic, when it could just be as relevant to their nature as being a type 2 diabetic or type 1. It's like I'm type 2 for the rest of my life, might end up going to a type 1. It's like that's easy for you to understand, but like if you're neurodivergent, you don't think you should have some assistance in some way.
Right. Like they act like autism ends at 18 and it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. What makes people think that they hit 18 and they're going to all of a sudden magically it all comes together. I'm like, their peers have trouble navigating the world. What makes you think they're going to just snap it together?
Or is this some
It doesn't
artificial
work that way.
accountant, decide that they're not going to pay for it after this date? Is this an artificial boundary? It's not. That's not based on the
I
facts.
No, I'm like, they were born with this. That it. just I'm sorry, their brain doesn't just come online and we're good to
Sure.
go.
You know what? That's why I understand society. Like we said at the beginning, is like if you would understand things as they are, not the way you want to be, or try to categorize it into a something that fits your accountant perspective. It's like it's not the world's not a spreadsheet. Like you have to look at things as more, like a little bit more depth than like there's a number in that cell, but what's the value of that? Right? Like you don't see, you just see
Right.
the number. You have no idea what it means. Or you don't treat the human being on that on that spreadsheet. You treat them as a number. You don't treat them as a person. So then you don't understand it. You just look
Exactly.
at a number and say, "Well, I cannot fund that number. I cannot support that number
Ex-
because it's just a number." Instead of actually looking at it as a human
right.
being, like you have a more human centric, human focused point of view rather than maybe just a monetary point of view.
Right. And also, like, they need to just have more foundations for autistic young adults. They have all these foundations for kids. And I'm like, hey, there's still some young adults that need your help. They're, they need payment for college, maybe some housing, because, you know, housing's expensive. They may need some coaching. They need some career training, all these things to be independent,
Yeah, it
maybe
seems
some
like
OT.
I don't know. Just people feel like putting together like I don't know, empathy. Like actually having empathy for people and not saying, well, you're an adult now, you're out there, throw it to the wolves. Where like somebody who's more connected, right? We'll see like, hey, there's a cause and effect here. If you don't treat people with respect, if you don't understand things and just have a very narrow point of view and you don't look at the like if you don't support somebody, if you stop supporting somebody after 19 and their condition doesn't go away, you can't expect them to be
Right.
part of society and be productive if you just turn off the faucet. You don't give them any support, moral support, social support, you know, empathetic support, monetary support. It's like you have to. Human beings need a lot of pillars to be, and if you
Correct.
you feel like, well, I don't have to support that. Then like you can't be
Right.
surprised.
They're not asking. They're not asking for a lot. They just need a little help, a little assistance,
Yeah,
just to be
it's not like
independent. They're not
people
asking for the
throw
world.
people throw a lot of money into bombs in the military. Like we throw a lot of money into things that blow people up or send people to Mars. But the people right here that need help and like you want to go to Mars, it's like that's nice. That's a good aspiration to go
That's
to Mars. It's like you're throwing a rocket to the moon, rocket to Mars. But it's like there are people right now that could actually impact the Earth, and like
that would be helpful.
it doesn't take billions of dollars, to make spaceships that just blow up all the time. And who's going to Mars? It's not most of us.
No
So
one
it's like, what
anytime
are you
soon.
spending it on?
No one. You can spend some of that money here. How do you know? Like, if you're spending all that money, I'm like, I feel like the person, there could be somebody in the neurodivergent community that could solve that problem for you if you spend that money here.
Yeah, I mean, if you put people in the
You
right
never know.
where they should be, if you actually like, what if they really good at physics? What if they're really good at trigonometry? They're really good at the
Right?
skill set that it takes to be a rocket scientist or to be, an astrophysicist. But you always thought the astrophysicists looked like this. Well, they could look like that.
Correct.
And it's like if you had this preconceived notion that they're always going to look like an Einstein, well, maybe they don't. Maybe they come from Compton. Maybe they come from Trenton. You know, maybe they come from somewhere else.
Correct.
Maybe that's
where you would
unexpected,
never think.
but it could be there.
It's an listen, people don't assume. Never assume. That's why I always tell my son, don't assume.
Yeah, because it's really important, like after graduation, that you get support. That after you're 19, that you get
Always.
support. And we run into in the world is like as an adults, looking for mental health services is like, and you don't get support. You know, if you have a heart condition, if you have
And
cancer, if
that's
you
the
have
other
diabetes, you can get support.
and that's the other unfortunate thing. It's like with neurodivergent people, it's not always so black and white. It's overlapping with other issues. It's like it's not just autism. They may have ADHD, they may have anxiety, depression, they may be bipolar, borderline,
Hmm.
and then you you can't, it's not just this easy thing.
Not just one thing. But
So
like anything,
they
there's usually a lot of there's a lot of colors to the way things are. Everybody wants it to be black and white. There's a lot of shades of gray. There's a lot of elements that people want to always say it's one thing. Because it's like if you think about medicine, oh, you got type 2 diabetes, you got a cancer like smoldering myeloma or lymphoma. You got a very specific thing. But even under that, you might have some other things. People might say, well, like, yeah, but they actually might have other issues. Even on top of their cancer, they could have heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, multiple things. But then it's
hmm
like the big thing is, oh, they got cancer, but there's other things there, right?
right.
But they're not, no, we talk about there, they talk about the cancer, but there's other contributing factors to the overall condition of the person.
And if you take away a lot of their medical funding and they tank, what do you want them to do?
Yeah, I mean, people shouldn't be,
That's
it's
the
like,
whole problem.
yeah, to me, it's like foundations. You said, people want to give to charities, but then they focus on certain charities without thinking about other ones. So philanthropic organizations maybe are not focusing on like your topic, adulting with autism. Where's the support when you're over 19? Like where are the people that found
Right.
that that's actually an important thing to have continuing care throughout the life of an individual, regardless of their age? Where are the people that start putting do
Correct.
a study, have somebody do a study, somebody run the numbers and say, if you don't arbitrarily cut off the funding and you actually had support and it's not that much money, what outcomes would you get? Wouldn't you get better outcomes for our overall society and people's individual health and well
Exactly.
being?
Maybe a better unemployment rate. It may maybe start to come down.
Yeah, go from
You won't have to
unemployable.
worry about Social Security.
Yeah, because you got some people say, well, these people are unemployable.
To,
But like, well, who are these people? It's
well,
like, what do you mean these
they
people? It's
need
like, it's like, why don't you actually look at the root cause?
exactly. Like you don't set them up for success. Success starts way before they hit high school. You need to start them younger, prepping them for the real world. You can't just
Yeah,
sit there and be like, okay, out the door you go at high school and expect them to be successful.
yeah. A lot of our
You need
educational
programs
system.
that,
If like you say, I was thinking, like a lot of our educational systems were designed for a world that we're not in, right? They were designed for people to work in the
right.
industrial age or the agricultural age, and they still are structured in that way. They're not structured for the age that we're in.
Yeah.
And so unless you go to some private school
They need an update.
that has the funding and realizes that, but like, well,
Mm.
but where's like we're paying tax dollars, and our system was based on an agricultural and industrial system that doesn't even exist, right? For most of us, right? We're supposed to go into this
Right.
world, and the system was built like the summer vacation was built so you could go help your people on the farm. That's why we don't go to school year round. Because it was built to go follow the agricultural systems. Does that really fit the modern world when most people aren't working in the agricultural system?
Absolutely not. And everybody else around the world is going to school year round. They don't have an issue.
Yeah, so why are we still stuck on something that was like 19th century? It's the 21st century, and we're still doing it based on, oh, Johnny's going to work on the farm, Sally's going to work
Right.
it's like really. That
We're
that
so
you know
far
that
behind. We're
people need to
so
even
far
if we think we're
behind.
number one. The thing I get is like people think like we're number one. Have you checked out what happens in Germany? What happens in Norway? What happens in Japan? What happens in everywhere on the planet? Go look. Let's see what number we are in the world. Actually, look at the stats and see where we're performing in the world, and then you can go and say we're number
In the
one. But
toilet.
look at the numbers.
The numbers are awful for us. People don't like to look at the numbers.
Well, they'll go to the football game saying we're number
That's
one.
where they right. That's where that is. We're number one in sports. That's not going to get you a paycheck.
Yeah, it's like where's everything being built? Where's the like a lot of the
Not
software being
here.
designed? It's like you start to look at like how come we, don't have microchips so you gotta wait for your refrigerator. You have to wait for your car to get fixed.
Listen, my sister said, I'm not going to trust a drug not made in China. She's like, I would never trust a drug made in the United States.
Well, it used to be like that until like 78 or 75 or something. So, but it's like, most of the stuff in the 70s, was built here. But until we did the shift. But yeah, I
Right.
mean, people like there this that world might be gone because even if you brought it back, a factory that comes back is going to be mostly robots and automation, and
Right.
most of the people will be like an Amazon warehouse working, moving things in boxes around that the machines built. You're not going to be doing what
Correct.
your grandparents did when they were working at the Ford
Mm-mm.
plant. The robots are doing most of it.
Absolutely not.
So
And that's
I
what
don't know
people
if
don't understand. Automation is going to be a good portion of your stuff in the industry.
yeah, there's not a lot for unless you have very customized work that's hand built work that has like hand built crafts. But most thing is not hand built. Most stuff is not. You might have some stuff that's customized, and they have the aftermarket customization market, but that's not massive amounts of factory space. So
No,
this is a
not
world
anymore.
where like the where things are is like critical
The
thinking.
brain.
The brain is like people being entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
people creating their own services, creating your own podcast, creating your
Yep.
own webinar, coming up with an idea, being able to sell an idea, and then being able to have you could have a
Yep.
3D printer and actually come up with an idea and sell it and build something in your own house and ship it, drop ship it around. You could actually do it if you get that detailed and you got an idea and you go build it. You can actually do it. So that's the world we live in.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm proud of. Like my son can see that I can build a business with my podcast, and he's like, I think I'm going to build a business with designing video games. I'm like, do it. You
We
can
can
do
do
it.
these all independent video
Do
games
you
if he
do?
yeah, if he can go and build it by himself. If he goes and learns everything he can
Hmm.
learn from the net and builds his own code and finds a way to build a game that's
And
an
that's
indie game and gets in the indie market, in the indie world, and gets buzz on these social platforms and the Discord world and all that and the TikTok world, and you get something that could heat up because he could just post it, "Hey, you dig this?" Like, people come from the underground all the time.
Yeah,
I mean, from the underground music I do, like that's
all
what I
the
do.
time.
So the underground programming software world exists where people just create like their own games.
Exactly.
And if you can get the buzz and learn how to market the SEO and get out there and get the buzz on it, get a
That's what I
TikTok
told
on
them.
it. Yeah, it's possible. It's not impossible. It's probably then the next step is like, do you want to go bring that bigger and go get into a bigger gaming company and get, maybe you sell the rights to it, maybe you sell a percentage and you could build on that and build your own empire, get a good deal, build your own brand.
Yep,
It's probably better if you stay in your own brand though
that's right.
than to sell it out
Yep,
because
stay in
selling
your
your
own
ideas
brand.
out
Don't
usually they buy you real
sell
cheap.
your ideas. Don't sell your brand.
Yeah, yeah, because yeah, you sell your idea, but don't sell your brand. Yeah, you don't sell yourself cheap because they'll give you a number that looks good today. It's not good tomorrow.
Right. Correct. Correct.
But I want to thank you for being here on the show. It always goes by quicker than we ever think. And we do have your link tree,
Oh,
Adulting with Autism, and that is your podcast title, right?
yep, that is my podcast title.
How often do you do your
Thank you so
podcast?
much for having me. I do it twice a week on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Awesome. People should check that out,
But in
Adulting with
April,
Autism.
yes, but in April, I'm doing 30 straight days of content because it is OT month and Autism Awareness Month. So check
Oh,
that out.
all month you're doing content, though 30 days straight.
All month,
Well,
30 days straight because I'm insane.
that's cool. I think that's something that they to give
Just for
yourself
the
that
month of
present.
April.
Well, yeah, to be out there every day. That's a cool thing to do. That to be commended. I try to get close to that, but
Thank
I'm not going
you.
to hit that. But that's really commendable.
Listen, there's 1 month a year. I have the energy for 1 month a year. This is
Awesome.
April.
That's cool. I do encourage people to check out the link, check out your show, and be there in April for that every day, and be out there and adulting with autism. We just had April Ratchford on the line today, and we thank you for being on the Family Electric Goes podcast. As we said, check out her podcast, Adulting with Autism. Uh, she's going to have the 30-day effort in April. Support her for that, and we want to thank you for being a guest on the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.